At 21 years old, like many other young girls, Anna, a young Moldovan, dreamed of being an influencer. Unfortunately, one day, everything will change. The budding influencer will be accused of a real massacre. She allegedly stabbed her mother and ripped out her heart with her bare hands. Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. I'm delighted to be back with you today for a new video. With this case, we plunge into absolute horror. Anna, who dreamed of glory on the networks, will commit one of the most horrible crimes the country has known. A particularly shocking story that will not leave you indifferent. But I won't tell you more, and I suggest you discover together all the details of this sad case. It was in Moldova, more precisely in Comrat, that Anna was born in 1999. Comrat is the capital of Gagauzia, an autonomous region in the south of the country. Her father is not just anyone. She is the daughter of Vasily Leikovik, a rich landowner who also owns several poultry farms with her brother. Vasily was born on September 4th, 1979, and in addition to being an entrepreneur, economist, and lawyer, he is the director of Leikovik Agro. He is an influential and very controversial figure. In 2019, the businessman was a candidate for the position of governor, but finally his candidacy was rejected. Indeed, irregularities in the lists of signatures were discovered, and finally his candidacy fell through. He is a troubled, aggressive man who, for example, does not hesitate to physically threaten his rival during the campaign. He is a colorful and very provocative character. He has made several obscene remarks on local television. He has also cursed the members of the Gagauzia Electoral Commission on several occasions. He threatened them publicly, saying, "I assure you that they will end badly. Their loved ones will catch AIDS, incurable STDs." But let's go back a little further to the end of the 90s. Vasily is just coming of age when he meets a medical student, Praskovia. Together, at 20 and 21 years old, they had Anna. But the young couple who had started a family very quickly separated, and Vasily rebuilt his life on his own. He remarried and had a little boy. It is not clear what role her father will play in her upbringing, but thanks to her parents' situation, the young woman leads a very comfortable lifestyle. When she was just of age, her mother left Moldova to work in Germany. Her daughter Anna does not follow her. She remains in her native country, but does not live with her father. She was independent from an early age and had her own apartment. At 21 years old, the young woman is a medical student in a Russian school. She is following in the footsteps of her mother, with whom she is very close. She is a girl who does not make waves. These teachers are satisfied with her work and her involvement in her studies. However, despite her desire to be a doctor, like many young girls today, Anna dreams of celebrities and glitter. She wants to be an influencer. She has an Instagram account and posts many photos of herself, highlighting her travels, her physical, and her outfits. She attaches great importance to her appearance and does not hesitate to do some cosmetic surgery to stick even more to the standard of beauty highlighted on social networks. Thanks to her father's money, she travels through Europe, Paris, Milan. She takes pictures of herself in front of luxurious brands. She sells a glamorous life, a dream life between luxury and beauty. Her Instagram account gradually gained a little notoriety, and she managed to accumulate nearly 1,000 subscribers quite quickly. Anna, because of her lifestyle that she highlights on Instagram, seems to have a dream life. Behind this glamorous image sold on the networks was a much darker reality. Anna enjoyed great independence for her young age. She lived alone and enjoyed her father's fortune without any parental controls. It didn't take long for her to fall to the dark side, because behind this image of a dream life, between a select party, a trip, and a luxury hotel, there are also often all kinds of temptations, such as drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and bad company. And Anna will fall into his traps. In reality, she was leading a very unstable lifestyle. For a year, she had fallen into drugs and alcohol. She used them regularly. When she was younger, she was very close to her mother. But now she lived alone. She had no relatives with her. Her father had rebuilt his life and was busy with his business, and her mother lived and worked abroad. She did not immediately realize her daughter's addiction problems. Unfortunately, when she discovered that her daughter was taking drugs, it was too late. Living alone, she did what she wanted, when she wanted. In November 2020, Anna overdosed at a party. The emergency services were called and she ended up in the hospital. This is how her mother learned about her daughter's addiction problems. She knew that she had always had a special relationship with alcohol. She used a lot of it, and her mother had even sent her to see a psychologist when she was younger, to try to help her get out of this addiction, but she did not know that she also used drugs regularly. After this overdose, Praskovia, his mother, was very worried. She was worried about her daughter, her health, her safety, and her future. She then decided to return to Moldova to help him get out of what she thought would be a bad patch. The situation was critical. She had to have a serious conversation with her daughter. She had been ahead and considering finding her a place in a clinic to do a detoxification treatment. All that remained was to convince Anna. This is how she took a plane ticket and arrived in Moldova on December 11, 2020. She went to her daughter's apartment the same day, where she found him under the influence of alcohol and drugs. When she saw her daughter drunk and drugged, she blamed her for it, and the conversation quickly turned into an argument. But Praskovia did not budge. His daughter was taking the wrong path, she was associating with harmful people, and she wanted to help him. She couldn't let Anna ruin her life like this. She had a brilliant girl coming up. She was a medical student, and she couldn't accept that she had sunk him into all his addictions, especially since a month before, as I told you, Anna had been hospitalized following an overdose. For Praskovia, there was only one thing to do. Her daughter had to go to rehab. But Anna didn't see it that way. It was out of the question for her to go to treatment. She was managing the situation. She didn't need to. The conversation became more and more heated, and the tone rose between the two women. But Praskovia held firm. She didn't want to give up, and she didn't give her a choice. She was going to do everything to get her into treatment. Anna was beside herself. Was it the mixture of drugs and alcohol that accentuated her anger? Anyway, she grabbed a kitchen knife and attacked her mother. She hit her several times, and Praskovia didn't have time to understand what was happening. She fell to the ground, badly injured, bleeding profusely. Anna had just committed the irreparable with unprecedented violence, but the story will take an even more horrible turn. While her mother was dying on the ground, Anna, using her knife, began to open her ribcage. The horror was at its peak, but Anna was not finished. Praskovia was alive when his daughter set out to tear out his heart. Anna, with her knowledge of medicine, literally cut and ripped out her mother's heart while she was still alive. She also removed her lungs and intestines and threw her mother's organs in the trash. The scene was extremely violent. Anna was covered in the blood of the woman he had brought into the world. Without any remorse or regret, cold and impassive, she left the body on the floor of the apartment and went to take a shower. That evening, she had an appointment with her boyfriend. She washed, dressed, and did her hair as if nothing had happened. Then she left the apartment, in which the cold body of her mother, mutilated, was still on the floor. She went to her boyfriend's house. They spent the evening drinking champagne when suddenly Anna revealed to her the crime she had just committed. Her boyfriend thought she was joking, but she seemed very serious. She told him that she had killed him because she wanted to send him to rehab. He was shocked, didn't know if it was the truth, but he had preferred to keep his questions to himself while continuing the evening. So he acted as if nothing had happened, and shortly after these terrible confessions, Anna fell asleep. While Anna was sleeping soundly, her boyfriend decided to leave his apartment and go home to find out. Before leaving, he will retrieve Anna's keys from his bag. When he arrived at her house and opened the door, he came across a nightmarish scene. He could hardly believe it, but Anna had killed his mother. His body lay on the ground, disemboweled, in a pool of blood. Horrified, he immediately called the police to tell them everything. It was only 2 hours after the murder that the police arrived at the scene of the crime. They were particularly shocked by the barbarity of this crime. They had never seen anything like it. They found Praskovia's heart, lungs, and intestines in the garbage can. Anna's boyfriend told them everything. He had no doubt about who was responsible for this terrible murder. They had enough evidence to arrest the young woman and charge her with the murder of her mother. Already at this stage of the investigation, everything pointed to her. The police left immediately to arrest her, but when they went to her boyfriend's home, she was already gone. Her escape, however, was short-lived because 72 hours later, she was found at the home of a friend of hers. She was immediately placed in preventive detention for 30 days. She was the only suspect in this crime, but he still wanted to push the investigations to understand the savagery of the crime. Sometimes when an argument goes wrong, unfortunately there are stab wounds, but here Anna had seriously mutilated her mother. She had literally ripped out her heart while she was still alive. This act was incomprehensible to the investigators, especially since, according to the family, the two women were quite close. When the news of his death spread in the media, everyone was shocked. The region, or even the country, had never experienced such a barbaric crime. It was hard to believe that a young girl with no criminal record, who was absolutely not known to be violent, could have committed such a crime. To her neighbors, she was an uneventful and smiling young girl. They found it hard to believe that she could have killed her mother. They did not suspect at all his problems with alcohol and drugs. On the day of the murder, they had heard screams and cries for help coming from his apartment, but no one had dared to call the police. They had told themselves that it was a simple argument, as could happen to anyone. Refusing to believe that such a young woman, apparently without a story, could commit such an atrocity. Many also wondered about her father, this controversial figure, known, I remind you, to be a violent man. Did he have anything to do with this crime? He had many enemies. Was it a settling of scores? Intimidation against him? Multiple hypotheses emerged. Anna, because of her consumption and addictions, certainly knew drug traffickers. Did she owe money to some who would have taken revenge in the most horrible way? Although it was hard to believe, the investigation revealed that no one else was involved in the crime, and his father had an alibi at the time of the murder. For the record, you should know that today his father is in prison with his partner, his brother, for blackmail and extortion, among others. After her arrest, Anna refused to cooperate with the police. She behaved very strangely and inappropriately in prison. Anna was therefore summoned before the judge for her indictment. Again, she behaved totally inappropriately, incoherently, and inappropriately. She showed total coldness when reading the facts. While her destiny was being played out, she seemed totally disinterested in what was going on around her. She lay down in the dock, more concerned with her nails than with the facts. There were many journalists present that day, and on several occasions they turned to them, even making them the victory sign. At the end of the hearing, she stood on the bench, and when a reporter asked her why she had killed her mother, she giggled and replied as if she were a celebrity, "Goodbye." After this hearing, her lawyers sought to declare her incompetent to be judged in order to absolve her of criminal responsibility. And he succeeded in winning her case. After undergoing several psychiatric assessments, the judge declared her not criminally responsible for her actions. For him, she was absolutely unable to follow a criminal procedure. According to the latter, Anna represented a danger both to her and to society. She was therefore committed to a high-security psychiatric hospital in September 2021. Since her arrest, she still does not seem to have become aware of the seriousness of her actions. She has expressed no remorse, no emotion. However, many people do not believe in madness. Some still wonder if during her hearing she had not faked madness precisely to avoid prison. Surprisingly, his Instagram account gained nearly 5,000 followers after this terrible tragedy, before being permanently deleted. She who dreamed of fame and celebrities is now known as the Monster of Comrat. This story reminds us once again that behind the glamorous image that some influencers send out on social networks, there is sometimes a much darker reality. Anna seemed to be a young influencer with a future. She had all the codes of all these girls who sell their dream plastic on the networks. In addition, thanks to her parents' money, she traveled and frequented the most select places. The sad thing is that young and old identify with those they consider models, without really knowing who they really are. To be able to commit such a horrible murder against her own mother, Anna obviously had to be a very disturbed young woman. She was found to be criminally irresponsible, but I was unable to find the conclusions of the psychiatric reports. So as long as the murderers are extremely manipulative and can pretend to be not responsible for their actions, they avoid prison. Under the tutelage of the doctors of these centers, it is very likely that these murderers will have, after a certain time, authorizations to leave. Or, worse still, that he will be able to leave one day when they are finally treated, a few short years after their crime. Do you think that we should judge the insane, especially those who commit acts as horrible as this? Also, do you think that this kind of person should and can be treated? Finally, should we do everything possible to try to reintegrate them into society, as is the case in many other countries? I'm waiting for your feedback in the comments. What is also particularly shocking, in my opinion, in this case, is not so much the attack of her mother during an argument. It happens more frequently than you think. Moreover, she was under the influence of alcohol drugs, which may explain why she lost her temper to such an extent, and that she has assaulted her mother as well, but rather the fact that while she was still alive, she cut open his belly to tear out his heart and organs. And then from that, spending an evening with his boyfriend and managing to fall asleep. I have a thought for Praskovia, who did not deserve this. She only wished the good of her daughter. I hope that today she rests in peace. I'll leave you with that. Don't hesitate to give me your opinion on this story. See you soon for a new deadly truth.